This evening I would like to talk about the Amish Mennonite and Jewish link. Now, you will go online and you will see remarks about this. Oh, no, Amish are not Jews. Amish will say, no, we're not Jews, we're German. People keep asking them over and over again, are you Jews? Are you Jews? No, we're German. Okay. I would like to bring a little bit of evidence to the contrary. Although they are a Christian group, they do things very similar to what the Jews do. Their hats are strikingly similar. The women cover their heads not exactly the same ways that Orthodox Jewish women do, but they cover their heads. The Orthodox Jewish men, they have beards. The Amish, the Old Order Amish and Old Order Mennonites, they have beards. The only difference is that the Old Order Amish and Mennonite, they do not wear mustaches, because a mustache is, how do I put this? It is it's for war. It's, how do I put this? Without a mustache, you're a pacifist. You don't believe in war. Okay. So that's just a very small thing. Then there's names, which is what I would like to go into right now. I spent a lot of time on jewishgen.org and looking up Amish and Mennonite names, surnames in the Holocaust Memorial. And this is what I've come up with. I'll go through 35 names because it was just way too tedious to go through all of them. But it'll give you the general idea. Now, each one of these names are listed among Holocaust survivors' last names. I want you to pay close attention and you decide whether you think that the Amish and Mennonites are Jews or not. And I would also like the folks in Israel to pay close attention if any of you are listening to this. And by the way, there have been Amish men who left the Amish and went to Israel and were accepted right away as a brother. A Mennonite fellow by the name of Levi Joseph Carnegie, years ago, went to go visit Israel, and when the people there looked at his passport, they said to him, "Sir, you're one of us. You can come here to stay, but you cannot go to Egypt. They will kill you there." This was during the time of when Sadat was the prime minister there. But anyway, I digress. I just wanted to read off a few names, surnames. I'll start with number 1, Albrecht. That is an Amish Mennonite name. There were 29 in Dachau alone. The name Amish itself is derived from Amis, or A-M-E-S, and there were like 10 to 20 of those. Alright. Ammon, that's A-M-M-A-N, or it can be A-U-M-A-N-N or H-E-I-M-A-N-N. It's all the same name. There were hundreds Hundreds of them. Survivors of the Holocaust. Number 4, Amstutz. Amstutz. There's one listed there. Ashleman. There are none listed in that name. But with the M-A-N or M-A-N on the end of it, very likely. Alright. Augsburger. There's one listed. Bachman. That is another Amish and Mennonite name. At least 100 Holocaust survivors. Baumgartner. 18 Holocaust survivors in Dachau. Bender. B-E-N-D-E-R. Hundreds of them. Byler, which is my mother's maiden name. 15. And more, because it's Byler, spelled B-Y-L-E-R, B-E-I-L-E-R, B-I-E-L-E-R, and W-E-I-L-E-R. Beachy. There are 3 known survivors. Berkey. B-U-R-K-Y. 30 known survivors. Blank. Yes, there are Amish Mennonite families named last name Blank. B-L-A-N-K. There are hundreds who survived the Holocaust. Bontrager. I couldn't find any of that name. Burkholder or Buchalter, same name, 16. Incidentally, there is a Burkholder who was traced to the Kohanim in Israel by DNA. Brandenburger, another Amish Mennonite name. There were 8. Burkhalter, which is much like Buckhalter, there was 1. It's still the same name, but so that makes 17 for the Burkholder, Buckhalter, and Burkhalter. Burkhart. There were 80 survivors. Esh. Esh is a big name among the Amish and Mennonites. And that is E-A-S-C-H, or it can be E-I-S. Hundreds survived the Holocaust. Egley. There were 46 of those who survived the Holocaust. Cup or cop or cap. It's all the same name. There were 60 of those who survived the Holocaust. Koblenz. C-O-B-L-E-N-T-Z. There were 50 survivors. Cross or Kraus, K-R-A-U-S, there were hundreds of those. Hundreds. I found out that I did another search on Esh, using slightly different spelling, ESH or ASCH. There were hundreds of those who survived. Ayer or Ayer, it's EYER or AUER, same name. There were hundreds of those who survived the Holocaust. We have one more name where I couldn't find any Holocaust survivors. Farmwald. Another big name in the Amish Mennonite community, Fisher. There were hundreds of those who survived the Holocaust. Engel, ENGEL. Hundreds of those survived. Erb, that's ERB. 49 survivors. Fry is another big name in among the Amish and Mennonites. That's FREY. There are many variations of that name. They're all the same surname. There were hundreds of those who survived. Funk, right? A real popular name among the Amish and Mennonites. There were 75 of those who survived the Holocaust. Gerber, everybody knows that name, and everybody knows they're Jews. Plenty of those among the Amish and Mennonites. Gindelsperger, I couldn't find any names among the survivors there. And the last one that I looked up, Gingrich. There were 4 survivors of that last name. Now, did somebody say that they were German? Do you actually believe that after hearing what I just told you? I went from A through G. It was so tedious to go through all that, I just quit. Figured that I would finish on another day, but I just never got around to it. My point is, these are not Goy or Gentiles. These are not German people. They are what I would call, and what I think the Bible would call, hidden Jews. There's another name for them, if I can remember. It slips my mind now. Maybe I can Google it and find it. Crypto-Jews. Now people will say, well, crypto-Jews, those are Jews who practice Judaism inside the house and another religion outside the house. Well, I prefer to use the name exactly as it means. Hidden. Hidden from view. The Amish hex symbols are very similar to some of the Jewish symbols, like the Star of Solomon. Mogen David is what they call it. There are just so many similarities, folks, that I remember reading a story about a rabbi, an Orthodox Jewish rabbi, him and his wife and his daughter were walking down the street, and the daughter said, "Oh, look, there's a rabbi just walked into McDonald's and went in there to eat." And of course, you know, Orthodox Jews, they don't um, eat meat that's not kosher, and I doubt if you can find kosher meat in McDonald's. And so they waited outside until he was finished eating, and they had a little chit-chat with him. And the Orthodox Jewish rabbi looked at his hat, showed him his hat, and had a nice little discussion with their daughter about the differences between the two. Not a whole lot in the way they dress and the way they have their beards and everything. But there's a long history behind how the Amish Mennonites came to be. There are some stories that they originated from the original Nazarenes that were expelled from Judea just before Titus sacked Jerusalem. Don't know if it's true or not, but there are rumors out there, and also even some talk amongst themselves, acknowledging that yes, they are Jews. Won't say it in public, of course, but they were of the Anabaptist group in the 1500s, and they were persecuted, drowned, burned, all sorts of things done to them, much like was done to the Jews at the same time. In fact, many Jews lived with the Anabaptists, and even married amongst them, because the Anabaptists were the only people who tolerated Jews in Europe. And the Protestants and the Catholics, they called the Anabaptists Jews as well. They treated them just like they treated the Jews. I wonder why. Probably because they were Jews. Anyway, for those of you ex-Amish out there, you might want to go ahead and do a little bit more research for yourself, especially in your family. Go in your family tree, look up all of your surnames, and see if you can match them up on jewishgen.org. I'm giving a free plug out to that crowd. I really appreciate the work that they're doing. A lot of people are going to find out their identity soon because of them. A lot of people. I mean a lot of people. Folks, there are more Jews out there than you can imagine, especially here in the United States. And the time is coming, it will be necessary to know your identity, because it will be time to go back to the Holy Land. Israel will expand its borders in spite of what the liberal Jews in Israel say, in spite of what the Arabs in the Middle East say, despite of what the liberals here in the United States say, in spite of what all of Europe says. It's going to happen. When the clock strikes midnight, it's going to happen. I hope this little bit has been informative. I know I swerved off track a little bit, but I wanted to get that out there, especially to my friends among the Amish and the Mennonites. Know your history. Know your family. And know that your family is in Israel.